Today we're going to go over graphing equations with slope-intercept formula. Okay, so definition to go over first. So a linear function. Linear, when you think of linear, I want you to think of line. So it is a function that creates a straight line. A linear function is not always proportional, okay? It's going to be proportional if it goes through the origin. So proportional functions always start at the origin or go through the origin, okay? So 0, 0, here is the origin. Proportional goes through the origin. If it does not and it crosses the y-axis at any other spot, it is not proportional. And then linear means straight line, okay? So an example of a linear function is going to be a function that makes a straight line. So straight lines, that one would be, or this, or straight across. All of those are linear functions. Okay, so slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Now, what do these letters mean? So the M is going to stand for slope. Okay, the M is going to be the slope. So when I figure out what the slope is on the function, I'm going to go ahead and put that information in. B represents the y-intercept. So B is where it crosses the y line on the graph. So in order to graph using slope-intercept form, okay, so we're going to graph the y-intercept first. That point is always going to be 0, comma, whatever the b is, because remember, it goes x, comma, y. So on a graph, remember, here's the graph, here's my x-axis, my y-axis. The y-intercept, so right here, find a pretty color highlighter, the y-intercept is going to cross the y line, okay? That is where it crosses. Use the slope of the line to create more points. Remember, the slope is rise over run. So once you have where you the line will cross the y-axis, you're going to use the slope, okay? And so either we're going to go up and over to the right or up and over to the left, positive slope or negative slope. You can use the ruler to draw a line through your points to connect them and then put arrows on both ends. And that is how you graph a graph using the slope-intercept form. So let's look at an example here following that directions. So we know y equals mx plus b. Well, b is going to be 1. So 0, 1 would be right here at the number 1 is where my line is going to cross the y-axis. Now my slope, I can look at it, it's positive, so I know it is going to go up to the right and 2 over 3. So I'm going to go up 2 from here, 1, 2 over 3. 1, 2, 3, draw a point. And I'm going to just repeat, up 2 over 3, draw a point. Now I can do the reverse of that and just go down and over, already looking at and understanding kind of the slope of my line. So I can go down 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then I would try to draw a straight line here, connect the points. That is that line graphed from the equation. Okay, looking at this equation here now. So again, I know that y equals mx plus b, but I have minus 3. So minus 3, that doesn't tell me what. My y-intercept is going to be at negative 3 is what that means. So if my y-intercept is at negative 3, I can look at my slope, and it is 1 over 4. That is still positive, so it's going to go ahead and rise to the right. And I can count from the point I put on the graph to go 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, draw a line. 1 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 over, and 1 down, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And then once I have my points plotted, go ahead and draw a line connecting them. Add some arrows because that line would continue to go in that same fashion. And that is that line plotted from that equation. Okay, here is another example. So I know y equals mx plus b. B is my y-intercept. But notice I don't have a b. There is no b on this equation. So that tells me this equation is going to go through the origin, because I don't have to say plus 0. I know it's just going to be 0. I can eliminate that from my equation. So if I do not have a plus b on the equation, the y-intercept is going to be at the origin. If the y-intercept is at the origin, this graph is going to be proportional. So now let's graph the slope. So let's put some more plots on this graph. I notice I have a negative slope, so my line is going to go decrease from left to right. So we can go ahead and start graphing that. So rise over run, 1, 2, and then over 5 would be here. I can also go and understand the way that the line is going to slope and count 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I got 3 points. That should be enough to go ahead and create a line, connect a line all the way through those. Hopefully your line looks a little bit better than my line. And that is that graph plotted on a coordinate plane from an equation. So again, if there is no plus b, it goes through the origin. And the origin, if a line goes through the origin, it is proportional. So here is from my graph. Now looking at a graph, how can I write the equation? Well, let's look at number 1, for example. So number 1, I know b. Where does it cross the y line? It crosses at -2. Right away, I know b is -2. Now my slope. I know slope is rise over run if I'm looking at a graph. So from this point here to this point here, so I rise 1, and then I go over 1, 2, 3. So rise over run. So 1 over 3 is my slope. Now to write the equation in slope-intercept form, I know slope-intercept form is going to be y equals mx plus b. So take that equation and replace m and b where they need to go. So y equals 1/3 x minus 2. That is the equation for the line shown on number 1. Now looking at number 2. We have a y-intercept right here is where it crosses the y line. So start at the origin and count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the y-intercept is 7. Now what is the slope? Looking at this line, notice how it decreases from left to right. So my slope I know is going to be negative. Now the measurement of slope, so we're going to go ahead and create a right triangle, right? Try to count the rise and the run over from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2. So 5 over 2. I can leave that in fraction form, or I could turn that into a decimal and understand that the slope is going to be -2.5. We're going to leave it in fraction form just to write the equation for simplicity's purposes. So y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 7. And that is the equation for the line on number 2.